Hi, how you doing? Today we're going to make a furring piece family to put into our flat roof, and we're going to also modify our flat roof to take the shape with the gradient and so on. And we're going to take a quick look at the flat roof first, and then we'll go on to making a furring piece family. Okay, we're going to make the family, by the way, out of a generic model line-based uh, template, and then we're going to recategorize it as structural framing so that we can place it from the structure tab and beam. Okay, escape. Okay, so if we just have a quick look at our flat roof buildup, that's it there. We edit type and edit the structure. It's this layer here, this softwood lumber, 50 millimeters. That's what we're going to edit. Okay, so we have that as variable. That means that we can interfere with that layer to make it thicker or thinner as we need it. Okay. Okay. All right. Escape. I'm going to go ahead and go to File and New Family. Scroll to Generic Model Line Based. Where are we? There it is. Open. Okay, so this has a length parameter already set in it, and it's an instance parameter, so that when you place it, you kind of draw a line, and it'll extrude whatever your shape is along that line in your project. Okay, so we're going to create a furring piece that's has a set height at this end, let's say x50, and it gets taller as it goes longer. Okay, so we have two heights. Now we could do that a couple of different ways. We could maybe we could do an extrusion on a front or rear elevation there and use reference line and so on, and then put a void through it maybe, or maybe we wouldn't have to. We could do a sweep. There's a few different ways to do it, but I think the most sensible way to do it is a blend. Okay, so we have a blend is basically an extrusion with two different shapes, so a starting shape and a finishing shape. Okay, so we're going to start on the left, so that reference plane there is called left, and then the higher end will be on the right. Okay, so if I go into a left view, do you know what? I'm going to save it first. Save as family. Go down to we're in structural framing. Okay, furring. I'm going to recategorize it up here at family categories and parameters. Select that, and it's already set as generic model, but we're going to scroll down to structural framing to recategorize it and click on that and OK. All right. Now I'll change my scale so it's a little bit clearer. Change it to 1:10. So in the create tab, we're going to set up some constraints. Okay, so reference planes. Okay, reference plane. We're going to do our width first. Okay, so a vertical reference plane either side of the center. Create reference plane. And using our dimension tool, I'm going to dimension to the center and to the other side, out and click equal. So it's equally centered on the center line. And then I'm going to dimension again to the outsides, escape. I'm going to select that dimension and create a width parameter. Okay. So with the dimension selected, I click on create parameter and call it width. I'm going to leave it as a type parameter. Okay. Change the width to 50. Okay, because that's about right. Now I'm going to need two heights. Okay, I'm going to need the height of the front and the height of the rear. Okay. So I need two horizontal reference planes. So reference plane again, across here and across here. And then dimension, I'll do first height here and second height. Escape. So select the first one, create parameter. I'm going to call that one X height. Okay, it's the starting point. I'm going to leave that as a type parameter. Okay. From here, I'm going to put in a parameter and call it top height. Okay, so select the dimension, create parameter, call it top height. Oops, top height. This time I'm going to have it as an instance parameter. Okay. All right. Just change that guy to 50. Keep that lad where it is. Okay. Now we're going to create our blend in the create tab. We have our constraints set. Select blend. So we're already in the first shape. Okay, that's the near shape and the reference plane we're on now, which is the left reference plane. So that will be the lower height. Okay, and the higher height to be on the right plane at the far end. Okay, so the second end is set to 250 at the moment. I'm going to just assign a parameter to that. We're going to assign our length parameter, which is already in the template. So click on the gray box and select length and OK. So now that when we change the length, that rear shape will move with it and make our shape. Okay, so select rectangle And I'm going to select that shape there, the rectangle, and lock it to the reference planes. There's one missing. Where is it? Line lock. Okay. There it is. Okay. Escape, escape. Now edit top. Now we're doing the back one. Okay. So select my rectangle again. There we go. And lock, 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 lock. Escape, escape. And okay. Now if I select that object we just made, I'm going to assign a material, and that's here. Select the gray box to get the material parameter, and there's one already in the template. So we select that and okay. And we're actually kind of done there. I'll save that. If you look at that in 3D, there's our furring piece. Okay. Now we just have a random height as the second height. And if we look at it in maybe a front view, probably see the effect of it. So if I pull the length, it goes with it, see? But it's going to the set height. Now I'm going to load this into the project. And if this is sufficient for your purposes, then fine. But after I place it and after we fiddle with the roof and do all that stuff, we're going to come back and make it a bit more interesting and parametric, right? There's a few interesting exercises in it. We're going to make it where you can control it either manually by setting the height in here. Where do we put it? Sorry, it's in the instance parameters. So the height, the top height, we can change it manually there, or we'd have an option to set it by the gradient ratio, so 1:40, let's say, or by a pitch, so an angled dimension. So we can have all three in, and you can check the box which one you want to use. So that's what we're going to do, okay? But if this serves your purpose, then that's fine. So load that into project and close. Do you want to save it? Yes. Escape, escape. I'm going to just interfere with the roof first, okay? Try and make it a little bit interesting, maybe. So if I go into my wall plate plan, there's my roof. I'm going to create a little gutter here, okay? So just to help me find the points, I'm going to go to the Annotate tab and select Detail Line. I'm going to offset it by 150, okay? So my gutter will be 150 wide. So we're going to select the end of the wall there and bring that down. If you don't know why I'm doing this, it'll become obvious in a minute. Escape, escape. And Modify tab, I'm going to offset that by 50 millimeters because the furring is 50 meters high, so just give me a 45-degree angle. Again, that'll be obvious in a minute why I'm doing that. So offset there. Okay, escape, escape. Now before I interfere with the roof, I'm going to go into section, and I want to put a reference plane on the placement level of the furring piece, okay? So if I go into my architecture tab, reference plane, and just draw it roughly across there somewhere, and we'll align it and lock it. Give it a name, we call that furring, okay? And modify tab, align with lock selected. I'm going to place it here, okay? So that's the bottom face of our furring. And it goes. Okay, so we'll go back up to our plan above. I'll find the roof and select it and modify sub-elements. Okay, so now what we're doing is we're modifying that variable layer in the roof buildup, okay? Now we're going to need to add some points. Okay, so add point. I'm going to add them at the end of these lines. That's why I created them, okay? Ding, ding. Escape, escape. Oh, I actually wanted to keep that modifiable. Okay, select the roof again, modify sub-elements. So I'm going to change these guys here to -50. So there's no furring piece at that point. I'm going to create the gutter there. I'm going to leave that 0. The other end, select that one, -50, enter, -50, enter. Okay, escape, escape. So get rid of those lines now. If I go into my section, you'll see I've just formed a gutter. Okay, we don't really need to do that for this exercise, but it's just a bit cool. So why not? Do you know what? Actually, I'm going to keep those lines there. I'm going to undo because I want the second line to be where I place my furring piece from. Okay. Okay. So in the plan view now, I'm going to go to my structure tab and select beam. And furring was the last one I loaded in, so it's there first. That's fine. I'm going to place on work plane. Okay, so I'll select my work plane here, placement plane. With the drop down, I'm going to go down to furring, the one I just created. Okay, select that. Now I'm just going to put it somewhere here in front of the section. Okay, so starting from that line, I'm going to go over to the wall. Escape, escape. Now if we look at that in section, There it is there. Okay. So if I hide my roof, you see it's sitting on the reference plane and it's got the gradient. Okay. So the gradient is set here by a top height, and that might be fine for you. Okay. If it is, then you can stop here and you can just, I'll show you how to edit the roof. So to match that. Okay. So reset temporary hide. What's the height? Okay. I'm just going to hide that wall because it's in the way. Okay. So my height is dimension from here down to here is 156. Okay. So if I select the roof, uh, I could do it in plan, but I could do it here too. I'll do it in plan. I'll go back into plan, modify sub elements, and I select that point and give it it's 156 minus 50 actually, so it's 106. Okay, and 106. Okay, if I go back into my section, now the roof is matching my furring. Okay, now that's a little bit unscientific. We didn't actually figure out what the pitch should be there, so maybe you want to do that first and then assign a height. Okay, so if that's good enough for you, we're done. Thanks for watching. Like and share, etc. If not, then stay with me and we'll just make this a bit more interesting, okay? So I'm going to tab and find my furring piece. I'll just hide the roof actually. Hide. Select the furring piece. I'm going to edit the family. Okay. All right. Now, go to family types. We're going to add some parameters, okay? Okay. So we've got our X height. Let's create a new parameter. Call it angle rise height, okay? This is the angle height controlled by the angle when we give it an angle parameter. And we'll make that an instance parameter. Okay. And okay. And a new one. We'll call it ratio rise height. And give it instance. Okay. A new parameter. Let's see now. What do we need to do next? We'll call this one manual rise height. This is the one where we input manually. And I'm going to make that an instance parameter. And I'm just going to put it down other. So it's separated and it's clearer and easier to find. Okay. New parameter. Pitch for angle. So this is the where you put an angle 5 degrees, 3 degrees, whatever. Make it instance and change it from length to angle. And we'll just put it into other as well, just to separate them. And okay. New parameter. We call this one ratio 1 in, let's say. So it's 1 in and then you add 40, whatever. So this we want to be a number, okay? You could probably do an integer, but it may not always be an even number, so we'll leave it as a number, a round number, I should say. And we make that an instance parameter, okay? We got that? Yes. Okay. Now we're going to create 3 yes/no parameters for manual, pitched, or ratio, okay? So we'll just apply these in case I lose them. So new parameter, rise by angle, and make that a yes/no. Other, okay, and instance, okay. New parameter, rise by manual, instance, so, okay. New parameter, rise by, what have we left? Ratio, is it? Ratio, instance, and yes/no, and okay. All right. Okay. Are we missing anything? Let me have a quick look. All right. Okay. Okay. Apply. Okay. So we're going to have to do a bit of school maths here. If you remember it was we were taught silly old Harry caught a herring trawling off America for our trigonometry. We're going to use a tan, okay, to find our height at the end of our blend. So because we have the angle and we have the bottom length, and so we need the height. So it'll be the height minus the X height. Okay, so there we know. So we'll give the pitch a value, just call it, I don't know, 3. Manual rise height, we'll call that 100, and ratio 1 in 40. Okay, just so another equations complain about anything. Okay, right. All right, so the angle rise height. Okay, so it's height x plus length times tan pitch. Name that pitch for angle. Pitch for angle. Do I have that? Yeah. Close bracket. Oh, x. What's it called? X height. Sorry. Okay, so x height, this guy here, plus in brackets length, which is up here, times tan of brackets pitch for angle, which is this one down here, 3 degrees, and that'll give us our height of the end of the blend, so the top height of the furring piece, with the working out the height from the angle and then adding on the x height to give us the total height. Okay, so I'll leave that on the screen long enough for you to see it. What did I not do there? X other bracket. Okay. So then ratio rise height. So where's that ratio rise height? We'll do x height plus brackets length divided by ratio, what do I call it? Ratio 1 in brackets. Okay. And then what else do we need to calculate? Okay. So now we need to let the family know which one to pick. Okay. So we got 3 heights here now. Okay. We got our manual rise height, which is here. So that's the one you just put in, that, and it gives it that height. We have if you want to set it by the ratio, so 1 in 40, it's this one here. If you want to set it by angle, it's this one here. So the family needs to know which one to select, okay? And we're going to use our yes, no parameters down here to do that, okay? So we'll put it to manual only selected at the moment, okay? And I go into, where is it now? Top height equals, so top height, that's the parameter we have dimensioned at the end. So top height, if rise by angle, this guy here. So open brackets, rise space by angle. You don't have to say equals to in Revit. So it's just, if you say if rise by angle, that means if it's yes. Comma, angle rise height. What do I call it? Yes, angle rise height. Okay, so if rise by angle is ticked, use the angle rise height. Comma, if open brackets, rise by ratio, the rise by ratio is ticked, use the rise by ratio height. So rise, no, ratio rise height. Otherwise, if it's neither of those, then use rise by manual. Close brackets. And there we go. Okay, what do I have wrong here? So if rise by angle, angle rise height. If rise by ratio, ratio rise height. Otherwise, rise by manual. What is wrong with that? Ah, yes, the last one here should be manual rise height. Right. So if rise by angle, angle rise height. If rise by ratio is ticked, then use the ratio rise height. And if neither, then use the manual rise height. Okay. So pause your video there, maybe, and take a note of that. And okay. All right. So now I'll load it into the project and we'll play with it there. Okay. So load into the project and close. Save it. Yes. Yes. Overwrite it. Yes. Cancel that for now. Okay. So there's our Firring piece. So is rise by manual selected. So if I deselect that, and let's say we want to do a ratio of 1 and 40, okay? So that's already selected 1 and 40, okay? So rise by ratio, apply. So it's automatically adjusted it to 1 and 40 over the length, okay? If I want to do it by pitch angle instead, I can deselect that and select rise by angle, apply. Now it's going to 3 degrees, okay? Pretty cool, huh? So I'm going to go back to rise by ratio and I'm going to leave it at 1 and 40. Okay, what's the height of that? So the height is 150, and don't forget the start height is 50. So take that away, so it leaves us 100. So in our plan view, I'm going to select my roof, modify sub-elements, change that to 100. Change that to 100. Shape, go back into my section, and unhide the roof. There, the roof, and make it wireframe so you can see it. My front piece exactly in place along the roof. And then in wall plate, you can place them by copying, or you could draw again, or you can offset 400, use the offset tool, 400, copy, ding, 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 along the roof, Shin oops, okay. Select the roof and hide it, so you can see, there, referring pieces. Hope that was helpful. A little bit complicated maybe, but if I went through maybe a little bit fast, but you can stop and pause and rewind. So you can work it at your own pace. I hope you found that useful. The same principles, of course, are useful in other places too. If you liked it, give it a like and pass it on. Thanks.